Trust the binder. Woo! Welcome back, adventurers. I'm glad you could join me. So today we're going to talk about something very important as you're prepping for your race plans. Now, you've put in the months of training. You've put in the hard work, the early mornings, the nights of no sleeping because you're so anxious about the run, the nutrition, the cross training, all of that effort. You've put that into your race. And when you get there, you want everything to go as smoothly as possible. And you want to just run. You don't want to have to think about anything else except running. This is especially true for something like 100 miles. 50K, checkpoints are gonna be pretty much everything you need to get you to the end, the finish. 50 mile, you could even just rely on the checkpoints then. Although I love having a crew. I think having a crew does so much for your morale. It does so much to get you through to the end. They're great. And people enjoy being there on a certain level, Yeah, maybe my boyfriend will give me the stink eye as I drag him to another race, but in general, I think that it's exciting to be a part of the crew and a part of a team. So even though running is such an individual sport, your crew matters. And a lot of people out there may not have a crew, and that's unreal. But personally, I love doing it. So I'm gonna give you the basics on what your crew might need to help you on your 100-mile run. And you could use these same techniques for a 50-miler or a shorter run if you wanted to. A lot of times a trail marathon will take you way longer than a regular road marathon. So maybe you want to use this for that too. But I'm going to be going over it in terms of 100. So what I saw on my friend's first 100 is that our crew leader had a binder, a very fancy, very special binder. No, it's just any binder you can find in the store. And I got this one because it has cats on it. And I put my nice little Mountain Lakes logo in the middle. But you don't have to do anything special like that. Just get a basic binder. And inside, I have race day instructions. A lot of these trail races are in the middle of nowhere and there's no service. So I know for a fact that my trail race, there's no service around there. So I put step-by-step directions on how to get to each checkpoint for my crew and my pacers. Now, the day before this, I'll go over it with all of them. Part of the reason why I'm over preparing is because my mom is in my crew and it's just helpful for her to have peace of mind as I'm out doing this trail run that she can feel in control of something. So the binder has a lot of purposes. And you can do whatever makes it easiest for you. But there's my driving instructions. And I've put like 3 different instructions in here on how to get around. Then I have the course description by aid station. Now, this maybe isn't something that I'm going to pay a ton of attention to, but my crew can look at it and know exactly where's going to be more difficult part than others. So if there's a long downhill, maybe I won't need as much nutrition versus something that's going to take me twice as long because it's an uphill. So it is good to look over the course descriptions. Some people do not like to know what's ahead, but you might as well have it in there in your binder just in case you come into a checkpoint and you're like, what's this next section like? Do I need my headlamp? All of those things. Now here, more specific notes. This is a really great worksheet that says the aid station, the mile, what you'll probably want to eat or take with you, other notes, the miles to the next aid station, the miles to the next crew access point, and the estimated time to the next crew access point. So I will include a link to this worksheet for you in the description of this video. Basically, it's pretty self-explanatory. You write in the aid station, the mile, and this is something that you should have figured out kind of during your training. Like, what am I gonna need to take with me? Well, what kind of food sounds good? And that's the type of nutrition. You'll have questions you want them to ask you, like, oh, did you pee? Have you been drinking water? How much water do you have? How much have you gone through? And also note the times. So sunset time, already on my first marathon of the 100, I'm gonna want to bring my headlight with me just in case it takes me before sunset to reach the 50-mile marker where I'll see my crew again. So that way they'll give it to me then. I wrote down that I wanted headphones here just so the last 20 miles before I see them again, I might want to listen to music to help push me through. And then also a cutoff time, you know, that's a good thing to note. So I probably don't want them to give me a step-by-step of, oh, you're on this pace, you're on that pace. But I would want to know if I'm nearing a cutoff, because that would really give me the kick in the butt to hurry myself a little faster. And then it's important to have the time to the next crew access so that they will know when they're gonna see you again. And that, if you'll notice, I've got 3 different times there. One is if I'm on track to be under 24 hours. One is for a 26-hour time, and one is for a 28-hour time. Now there's a handy website where you can find that number based on your course, because as we know, trail running can be a little bit more difficult to judge your pace. You know, on a road, you might be a 10-minute mile marathon or 30K or 50K, but on the trails, you're going to have varying times depending on the terrain. So there's actually a website that will tell you, based on your specific race, what the pacing time for each section of the course is. And that's great for your crew to have, so that my mom won't be over there wondering, thinking, oh, she's supposed to be on a 10-minute mile pace, why isn't she here yet? Well, it's because it's a more difficult section. Or she's a lot faster here, but she's gonna be slower there because there was a downhill. So I'll include the link to that down below. It's really great. It doesn't have all the races, but you might be able to check in with your group's Facebook, your race's Facebook group, and they may have one specifically as well for their race. Something else I've included in here is a handy list about symptoms, like if your hydration is low and your electrolytes are low, what that looks like, and what to do to treat that. Again, this is more for peace of mind for my mom, but it's nice for your crew to feel like they have something to do. So if I came in and I was like, God, I just feel exhausted and I haven't been drinking water, they can look at this and they're like, okay, well, let's stop your electrolyte intake, up your water, and then when you come into the next checkpoint, we'll see how you're doing. Like, it lets you check the skin, and it's pretty basic things. And obviously there's a med on course as well, but it's kind of nice for the crew to have something like this to go off of. Again, I have notes about the access points. Basically anything that my race gave me, I put in here. So there's the map. I love seeing the elevation personally, and then it gives them directions again. Standard questions, I can include those as well. You know, these are things that you should come up with for yourself. If you know that your knees give you problems during a race, have your crew ask you, how are your knees doing? Do you want us to tape them? If you know that you have chafing, have them ask you, are you chafing? Can we get you something for that? Blisters, is your headlight working? Do you have batteries? How's your watch battery? We'll charge that. Easy questions, because last time you took in electrolytes, what sort of nutrition did you eat? When you're doing 100 miles, your brain will not be working. You should be able to come into an aid station and your crew will say, what do you want to eat? And maybe you go, I don't know, but they'll look in the binder and they'll see that you've done the planning ahead of time that says, give me a hummus wrap with avocado, and they'll have it and they'll give it to you, and you can just be right out on your way again. If you can minimize the time you spend in aid stations, you're going to be really happy for that, because yes, your pace may be slow, but you could waste a lot of time over 100 miles in aid stations. If there's 10 aid stations, you know, I mean, it adds up. So try and just be in and out. If you need to walk on the course, that's fine, but grab your food and go. Have them ask you the questions that are important and then send you on your way. And it's really easy for them to do their jobs if you have it all organized ahead of time. So I hope that helps. I'll be sure to include all those helpful questions and worksheets and the link to the pace times for races in the description. If you have any other questions of things that your crew can do to help you, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe, because I've got lots more training tips to bring you as I lead up to my first 100 miles.